Hello, my name is Mark Grimes. I am an FTC for Linux Industries covering Ohio, Kentucky, and Indiana. This morning we are going to talk about installation and setup of the M30 thermostat. This is part of the iComfort platform, and so we'll go ahead and get started here and with the M30. First, we're going to talk about the subbase, and we're going to talk about terminal designations here. Going to show you this. This is the best way that I felt like we could go over the M30 is just go through it. This is a demo stat that I have, and I'm able to hold it in my hands to go through it for all the programming and setup. So hopefully it's helpful to you. Okay, first of all, we have all the nomenclature here for the terminals. Starting left to right, we have a TC and a TO terminal. This is for the wired outdoor sensor. The sensor's catalog number is X2658. And if you have a dual fuel system, you will need this. When it's connected to the internet, the display will display an outdoor temperature, but that is only for display purposes through the internet. If you have functionality reasons for a outdoor sensor, you will need to add this X2658 outdoor sensor, such as dual fuel for balance point control, things like that. Okay, then what's next to it is your accessory terminals. Okay, ACC 1 and 2. The output would be on ACC 2. You notice a jumper. Okay, let me move this wire out of the way. Okay, there is a jumper here that is connecting R2 to ACC 1 to power it with the system transformer for 24 volt AC. You can remove the jumper if you'd like and add a external power source, but most systems are going to just use the system transformer for the accessory output, such as a humidifier, a dehumidifier, things like that. And we'll go over more of that in detail a little later in the presentation. Next to that, we have our D/H terminal. From the factory, this is active with D for dehumidification. You can go into the programming and switch that to H for a humidification output if you'd like. We will cover this more in detail as we go through the setup, but you can use the D/H terminal. Like I said, is defaulted to D for a dehumidification output, which is active when there is no call for dehumidification. It's kind of reverse logic. So just keep that in mind, that there is 24 volts out when there is no call for dehumidification. When we have a call for dehumidification, that signal will go away. The same with ACC 2 output. You can set that up for a humidification output or dehumidification output. And so forth the same way. So if you have both a dehumidification output, a humidifier output, probably good to use the D/H terminal for your dehumidification and then set up the ACC, the accessory output for humidification. W2 is your second stage heat, such as two-stage gas furnace. You can give it will give an output to the second stage heat demand. Y2 is a two-stage, your second stage compressor. Okay, so if you have a two-stage air conditioner or heat pump, this will give you the output to the compressor. OB, this is set up default on O. Linux uses O for their reversing valves. Okay, so if you're using Linux equipment, it is defaulted to O, and this will give the O out to the reversing valve. If you have a piece of equipment, a heat pump, requires the reversing valve to be energized in heat mode, you'll have to go in and program that to be. C is your 24-volt common. Okay, and then we have, I'll move this wire over so you can see that. We have our G terminal. Okay, we have our G, which is right here. That is our fan terminal, our indoor blower. W1 is our first stage gas valve. And Y1 is first stage compressor. And then over here on the end is our R, which is 24-volt AC. Okay, so that's the nomenclature for the subbase. And to mount the subbase, it comes with 2 screws and anchors where you mount that on the wall, placing the screws. Okay, back this up here just a little bit, right here by my thumb. Screw here and a screw over here, and put a level on that to make sure it's level on the wall. And then you will snap the thermostat right onto the subbase. And that's what I'm getting ready to do right now. So I'm going to snap the thermostat onto the subbase, and we're going to get it powered up. And then we are going to go through some of the setup. Okay, so I brought the thermostat back. I've just snapped it onto the subbase, which is already powered. So this is what you're going to see when you start powering up the thermostat on any job. You'll have this Linux screen here, and then you'll get the Linux splash screen. Okay, and then it will start to go ahead and connect all to the, well, it's not connecting to the equipment, but it's coming up here to be a live stat. Okay, so this stat is already set to heat and cool. One out of the box would not. It would actually be off, I think. Okay, and you'd have to turn it on. We also have an outdoor, starting here on the lower right, we have our outdoor temperature, which the X2658 sensor, outdoor sensor, is connected. Okay, this also, if you are using the internet for display, that is the temperature it'll actually display. Unless the X2658 shows a lower temperature, and then that is the temperature it will display. We have our heat and cool set points. Up in the upper right, we have our menu, which we'll go over. Of course, in the middle, we have our adjustments. We can run the temperature up and down. Right now, it's showing 72 degrees inside. We are in heat and cool mode. We also show our indoor relative humidity right now. It's a little bit high since I'm holding this stat. That's probably picking up my body humidity here. And then up in the upper left, we have our date and time. And down in the lower left, we have our away. And we'll go over that as well. Okay. If you are going to run it in setback mode, you're going to be away from home, then you would just touch away. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started here. Let's go on into menu, and let's just go through the entire stat here for setup. I'm going to hit my menu, and this is what comes up here. Okay, so you get your menu. You have a choice of notifications, performance report, edit schedules, and settings. Okay, we'll go through each one here. Okay, we would touch our notifications. At this point, there are no notifications, but if there was something in here such as a filter change reminder or something like that, that is what would show here. All right, so we'll go back. Okay, so performance reports, we can go in and we can actually see our performance reports. This will give us a month-by-month log of our heating and cooling times and so forth. Pretty cool. Okay, schedules, we can actually go in and edit schedules here. Okay, if you want to run a schedule and not just heat and cool set points, if you wanted to set up schedules and run them, that'd be fine. The first one is Schedule IQ. Okay, if we use that, it is a 2 event a day schedule. You can also set up your away setback points here as well. But Schedule IQ is just a 2 event a day schedule. All the rest are 4 event a day schedules, and you can set them up for summer, winter, spring, fall, and you have a wake and you have a leave, you have a when you come back, and then you have a sleep. So 4 event a day. We have a save energy, which is defaulted to Energy Star, but it is also, you can customize that as well. So it can be a custom schedule. Okay, we've already timed out here, so we go back, okay, to our schedules. So those are the schedules that we have. So if you want to set those up and run those, that's how you do it. Okay, so settings, this will take us into the stat to be able to set it up. Okay, as you can see, the top here is our Wi-Fi. It will not be enabled, okay, out of the box. I've already went ahead and enabled it to have it already set up and connected to Wi-Fi. And as you can see down here, we have a green check mark above our router, above the internet, and above the Linux server. Okay, they are red X's out of the box. When you connect to Wi-Fi, it will go through and connect to each one of those. Okay, so router, whoops. Okay, it's already timed out here. Let me go back. Okay, so this is your router. This is internet. This is the Linux server, and that's what you want to get to. So you'll find your router, and then you'll put in your password and connect or join, and then these red X's will start to turn to green check marks like you see here. Okay, so we'll go back. All right, the next thing is system name. Okay, I have not named this system, so it is still called system, but you can type in any name that you like. Away mode. Okay, you can do smart away by enabling this button here, and then you can set up your fence. It's kind of like a geofencing smart away where it uses your phone to track where you are. If you get so far away from home, it will go into setback mode. And then again, here's your away set points. You can set them here as well. Okay, we have our feels like. Okay, we can enable that. Okay, I'm enabling that. You can run your thermostat based on just temperature set points, or you can use feels like. Feels like takes into account outdoor temperature, and indoor humidity to make it feel like whatever temperature you set it to be. Okay, so that's a pretty good feature. You can use that. I do sometimes on my E30. Okay, the next thing is your fan. Okay, this here is not where you set your fan. I'll show you that here in a bit, but there is a mode called Circulate. Circulate is a mode where the fan does not run all the time, but it does circulate some air even in the off cycle. And here is the time that you can set to run out of each hour. So it'll calculate heating, cooling demands, and then run the blower accordingly to make sure that the blower runs at least the amount of time you've set here each hour. Okay, heat and cool. You can set this up for wider set point range. The stat is defaulted at 60 to 90, but if you enable this wider set point range, it will widen the range from 40 to 99 degrees. And then auxiliary heat also, okay, you can enable that. and that will bring your set point. It's basically your balance points, okay, when auxiliary heat works and or heat pump works. But we'll talk about balance point control later, okay? Okay, also we have safety protection. That is alert. You can actually get an email sent to you if you've got an account with this. You can get an email sent to you, okay, based on, we go ahead and enable this. I'll go ahead and show you what that is. You can set these. If the house temperature gets below 40, it'll send you an email. If it gets above 90, it'll send you an email, or you can adjust that anywhere you would like. Okay, and below or above those set points, you will get an email notifying you. Okay, so back to the stat. Let's do humidity. And okay, in this case here, we've only got a, like I said, it's defaulted with dehumidifier. We can actually enable a humidifier, and I'll show you how to do that here in a bit. Okay, but you can choose to dehumidify. If you do, you have a choice between normal and max. Normal means it's only going to dehumidify when you have a call for cooling, and max is that it can actually bring on the equipment to dehumidify even without a call for cool, and overcool up to 2 degrees. Okay, and then your dehumidification set point. Notifications. Here's where you set up your reminders for filter, maybe humidifier pad replacement, UV lights, something like that. You can enable these and set up reminders if you'd like. Okay, energy savings. This is something that if you want to enroll with your utility provider, there may be some discount in your utility bill for that. General, there's a lot here about the stat or what you can do here. About is the first thing. Okay, about will tell you what the thermostat model number is, as you can see down through here. Your hardware revision, software revision. So you can even push for software updates here. That's what's under the general tab. Okay, dealer info. You go ahead and the dealer can set this up. And if you get any notification, it will give you their name and address. Here. Well, let's go back to dealer info. Also, down at the bottom, dealer access. If you have the homeowner set up access for the dealer, so the dealer can go on Linux Pros, on the dashboard on Linux Pros, and view the stat. This is how you would do it. You would set up remote view. Okay, you just turn that on, and then you can choose to let the dealer get notifications as well or not, just by enabling that button. But the dealer now, okay, once the account is established, the dealer can actually go in and access the stat to see what's going on, possibly prevent a service call. Okay, screen lock. You can lock this screen to where they can only change the temperature, or you can completely lock the screen with a password to where no one else can actually operate the stat. That's what screen lock is. Date and time. Okay. Set it up for a 24-hour clock or set it up for 12-hour. I have mine set it at 24-hour. I was in the military. I just prefer that kind of time. And also enable daylight savings time where it automatically switches. The language, okay, we can choose English, French, or Spanish, okay. You can choose the language that you would like, okay. Okay, and this is just telling you what the FCC rules are under regulatory. It's just giving you information. Okay, so that's what's under general. Display, you can go in here and the top one is outdoor temperature display by internet. So if you don't have an outdoor sensor wired to this, it will display what the internet is providing it through the weather data. If you do add an outdoor sensor, X2658 outdoor sensor, okay, so it will display the internet, but the stat will function off of the X2658 sensor. Okay. Also, you can do turn on or off the indoor humidity to display it or not. And you can also activate a screensaver if you'd like by enabling that button. And you can make the screen brighter or less bright by running that up or down the scale there. Also, the temperature display either in Fahrenheit or Celsius. And then clean screen will give you 30 seconds to clean the screen without making any changes. Home info, this is for the homeowner to put in for their home info, zip code being a very important piece of that. So they can add that in there. And then account, this is where the homeowner would set up an account. They would put in their email, password, and then they would either sign in if they've already created an account, or they can create an account. If they have more than one stat, they've already created an account, they would hit generate PIN, open up their app on their phone, and then put in that 5-digit PIN, and it will pair the two thermostats together. So let's go back to settings and let's go to the one that we skipped over, which is advanced settings. Okay, and this is saying that this is intended for a qualified installer. Okay, so we're going to proceed here. And now we get a whole list of things here that we can go in and adjust. The first one being very important because we do have to set up the system that we have. Okay, so when you go into that, we will set it up. Okay, this stat is set up for a 2-stage heat pump. It is a 3-ton heat pump. And the first stage would be 70% capacity. That is how Lennox does their 2-stage units. It would be 70% capacity. And then you would set up your indoor, okay, whether you have electric, whether you have oil, whether you have gas. Okay, in this case, I've selected 2-stage gas. Okay. And then you can also set up a auxiliary dehumidifier, okay, an external dehumidifier if you'd like. If you have the Humiditrol, the EDA, we can set it up on how and also how to control it. Or if you have just an auxiliary dehumidifier, you can set it up here. This would not be the norm, but in some cases, people do have auxiliary dehumidifiers, and that will give you an output, okay, on your accessory. Okay, so we go back to our advanced settings. The second one being outdoor sensor. Okay, this is actually defaulted to no, but if you put an outdoor sensor on your system like I have here, okay, you want to select yes, okay, to let the stat know that it has an outdoor sensor. Residual cool is the time the blower stays on after a cooling demand. So when the compressor cuts off, the blower will run an additional 30, 60, 90, 120 seconds here. Balance point control. Okay, so it will come disabled. Okay, it will come disabled, but you will have to enable it if you want balance point control. With our system that I have set up here is a dual fuel, so I would want balance point control. And when you do, the default balance points, low being 25, high being 50, okay, means that the heat pump will not operate below 25, and only backup heat will serve the heating demand. And then the high balance point is at which temperature outside above that, it will not allow the heat to come on. Okay, it's kind of an energy saving thing. Yeah, those are adjustable. All right, temperature control, normal, comfort. Normal means that if you have staged equipment, it will only stage up and finish the cycle. If you select comfort, it means that the equipment can stage up or down based on demand. Go back. Okay, we'll go to wall insulation. Okay, wall insulation. It's defaulted at average. It depends on the home construction. If it's a pretty decent home, average would be a good one. If it's really insulated really well, good maybe. But if it's not insulated very well, might select poor. The dead band is 3 degrees. I don't feel like this should be changed really. I think 3 is a very good setting. And but you can adjust this, I think down to 2, maybe up to 4 or 5. Smooth recovery setback. You can enable this, and it will be a smart or intelligent recovery where the stat, when you're in a schedule mode, it can bring on the equipment sooner as it learns to be able to reach the set point at the time that we have it set for. Okay, your offset is a calibration for temperature or humidity. You can calibrate each one of those. If the stat is not showing maybe the temperature that you have deemed it should, then you can adjust that, or the humidity as well. Stage differentials, they are defaulted at 1 degree for stage 1 and 2, and a half a degree for 3 and 4. I think these are pretty good settings, but you can adjust these if you'd like to hold a tighter set point, or you can even widen them out a little bit. Okay. Let's pull this on up here. Okay, stage delay. Okay, so this is stage delay timers. If they are enabled, they are defaulted at 20 minutes between staging. This is an energy saving measure. So we don't bring on unnecessary heat or cool to satisfy the demand. These are adjustable. You can adjust them down to 5 minutes or up to 120 minutes. Okay, Compressor Protect is a delay. It's a off delay. I recommend keeping it on. This will help protect the compressor for keep it from short cycling. Up here. Okay, the performance reports, we showed that in the beginning. We can actually disable that to keep from showing that, even if it's selected on the first menu screen. But it's pretty valuable information. It's something I like to look at. So I've enabled this, and you're able to see your heating, cooling demands per month. Okay, terminal settings. All right, this is something that's pretty important here. Okay, the first one is your HD, okay, output, as we were talking about in the beginning. Okay, it is set to dehumidify. I believe that is what it's defaulted to. Okay, to dehumidify. Okay, and that will give a dehumidification output, and that output is active when there is no call for dehumidification, and that signal goes away when there is a call for dehumidification. The accessory terminals, ACC 1 and 2, it is defaulted off, but you can also make it give an output to humidify, dehumidify, or for ventilation. I don't think ventilation is active right now, but it will be in the future. So, but if you have the HD terminal in dehumidification mode, then the ACC, if you do have a humidifier, can be active for humidification. Okay, and this is where you would set that up here. Okay. And then the last one is your OB output. It is defaulted at O for Linux equipment. If you do have a brand of equipment that uses a reversing valve to be energized in heating mode, you'd have to switch that to B. Okay, we can actually go in and do test here. We can test your heating, cooling. I am not going to go on with this, but all you have to do is confirm here and then select which test that you want to run, and you can run it. Okay, we can also reset all the parameters back to the factory default by taking this, doing this reset setting and then hit confirm, and that will reset the stat back to factory default. And then we also can restart the stat. This is like a reboot. If we have a problem with the stat, we just need to maybe go back through and make things, we start over fresh. We can do a restart. I will show you a couple other things here to set up. After we've set our modes and schedules, we can actually go in and select them. Okay, here. Okay, we can actually select which schedule to run. If you want to run schedule IQ or summer or winter or fall or the custom or the saving energy. Okay, we can choose that. Also, this is where you choose your fan operation. You can choose fan on. Okay, it's defaulted to auto. Okay, you can choose your fan on. Go back here. Okay, or circulate. Circulate means it's going to run for an predetermined amount of time in an hour. Okay, to adjust heating and cooling set points, you can just touch whichever dot here. You can run it this way. Okay, or you can use the plus or minus. Okay, you can also go over here and hit your heat to or cool to and make the same adjustments. Away mode, you can go ahead and go into away mode and it will go to those predetermined set points. To cancel, all you gotta do is hit that and we're back into normal operation. Okay, so this is at the end of our presentation here. Hope this was helpful, and maybe we'll do some more of these to kind of just show you how to program these stats. So thank you for your time today, and hopefully talk to you soon.